Mike, were you really sick this week? What was the problem?
I broke my back.
What do you mean by that? You
My
broke
back is broken.
what? A vertebrae or what portion?
Spinal.
You did that in sparring?
No, I did it by a motorcycle accident. The doctor discovered I was doing my sit-ups 2,500 a day with my 20-pound weight, and one day I couldn't move anymore. And I asked the doctor, what's wrong? And he said, believe it or not, it's wearing your back is broken slightly.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to F.A.W.B. episode 11. Can't believe we made it this far. I know. It's kind of crazy, man.
Holy crap.
Double digits. We're not canceled yet. We still have a channel, guys. So we're still working.
Just keep it together. Keep it together.
No crazy racist statements today. Please. Okay.
Oh, man. This is an election year. Keep it to a very bare minimum, okay?
Yes, exactly. Primary focus today is going to be on training while injured, right? Are you injured or are you just hurt? But before we get into that, I'd like to talk about our sponsorship package. It will be in the description below. We are trying to get people to sponsor us, to help us get some of these competitors to events, pay for training gear, pay for gym dues. We have some young competitors and they can use the help, and we'd like to help promote businesses locally, and iron sharpens iron. So if you'd like to be a sponsor of ours or check out our sponsorship package, that'll be in the description below. Let's jump into some weekly check-ins. I'm actually gonna kick this off, and then I'll hand it over to you guys. See you guys later. We're just ending class here, so we're having some guys filter out. This week has been, it's been an emotional week for me. I've been just going through it emotionally. I feel like I'm, I don't know, on my rag or something. So definitely going through it for me. I don't know if it's the weather or what. I've also been kind of dealing with some injuries myself. A couple weeks ago, I was sparring and clicked knees with Mighty Matt. Shout out to Mighty Matt. Nothing he did. It happens when you're doing some stand-up. He does
Sure.
He goes for a kick, I go for a check, and we just happened to hit at the wrong spot or whatever it was. So that's been bothering me quite a bit. My shoulder's been acting up. I don't know if that's the weather or whatnot. So I think that may be playing a little bit into kind of my mental state. I know being injured and not being able to perform at your top capacity tends to play, a bit of a factor when it comes to, my mental state and my performance. I want to be able to perform at the highest level that I can. And when you have something like an injury or, you can't do that. So, I'm just kind of dealing with that and getting things in order for our event this weekend. Who wants to take over now? Who wants to tell me about their week?
Sure, yes. Still powering through on my second to last semester at WSU. It's been really intense, but
Go Cougs.
go Cougs. But I enjoy it. I enjoy the opportunity to learn and grow, and the progress that I'm making. It's a lot. I've also been struggling with some injuries, but
Do you think it's just that time of year, man? It's getting colder, and our old bodies are like, oh.
I think it has a lot to do with age. I'm in my mid 40s. I push myself a lot. On Mondays, I'm doing 3 different workouts. And
That'll do it right there, bro.
And I maybe I'm biting off more than I can chew, but at the same time, I learned about exercise in the military, in the airborne infantry. Very high level of fitness was required to be a part of that unit that I was in, and so at that point, I could not push my body hard enough. I would break mentally before I would ever break physically.
Right. To be young, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then I maintained that mentality, and eventually I got to the point where I could break my body. And not my mentality. And so
it almost flip flops, doesn't it? Down
it does.
Sure. Like you're like, oh man, what's going on here? I used to be able to, do this nonstop, and now it's like a few reps in, and I'm starting to feel it. I mean, that messes with me, like I said, emotionally and mentally as well. So,
but see, I had the benefit of having like a bunch of different outlets for me to feel engaged, feel part of the community. And so if things drop off for me physically, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just go to more meetings, or I'll do more volunteer work, or I'll spend more time on my studies.
I just gotta get more involved, is what it sounds like, man. I don't got enough going on.
Diversify your portfolio, my friend.
I can't just put all my eggs in this jiu-jitsu martial art basket.
Yeah.
It sounds like, oh man.
Well, maybe you could have in your youth, but as we get a little older, the window of opportunity that we have to actually operate at the highest level, it shrinks, And so I'm experiencing this thing where it's like, okay, man, you had 3 months, 3 good months, and now guess what? Now something new hurts.
That's great. Now something new. Yeah, stub the toe. There you go. Rolling out of bed, man.
Yeah.
Shoot. But how's school going though? School going well for you?
Straight A's.
Straight, of course, Steve. Straight A's, man.
And I feel like I'm learning good stuff that I can apply in a variety of ways. I'm looking at internships for the spring. I'm talking to organizations about potential opportunities for employment. I'm like dialing in things like cover letters and my resume, and really kind of stepping up my preparation for leaving the university and getting out there into the working world. And I've been developing relationships in the community here throughout that whole process. So I feel like whatever role I step into, with that focus on social work, one of the best tools a social worker has is their connections to resources. And so I've been doing that since before I started school.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
And so I have that.
You're paving the way, especially for like some of these, like I said, we have young guys here that, they're, I don't know if lost is the right word, but maybe they're just kind of stuck or contemplating like where they'd like to go with their future. So I always think it's important that we have guys here, and older guys here, that are, hey, this is what I'm doing, this, and I was where you were. Now I made these corrections and I'm doing this now. I mean, you're a prime example of that, quite the backstory, lived quite a bit of life, but been able to, turn that around and go to school, make corrections you needed to progress your life. And that's something that you can bring to our establishment, the gym, and you can help share that, even if it's not intentionally. You know what I mean? When these guys hear about your story and then they see it now and they're like, oh, this guy's doing it. Like, maybe my situation isn't so hopeless,
Absolutely. Yeah, my probation officer says I'm a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I bet, man. He's like, wow, shoot, that's awesome.
Yeah. Maybe you should ask him for an internship.
Yeah, well, if I'm so great, well,
it's funny you say that, because I plan on talking. I'm having an interview with juvenile justice tomorrow to talk about a possible internship. Yeah. And I'm hoping, I already had a brief conversation with the program director, and I said, hey, I've got a colorful background. Is this still something that I might be eligible for?
Sure.
And she said, absolutely. Let's sit down, we'll talk about the details.
Anybody.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, our culture's moving away from a lot of the old ideas and attitudes. It really was the Puritans, right? And their religious conviction that once someone demonstrated that they were bad, it was evidence that they would always be bad.
Yeah.
It was based upon the idea of predetermination. And so that has carried, that philosophy has carried through our system of corrections and our criminal justice system for centuries.
I was going to say, I'd say it's gone through society. I mean, once you, like you said, you get marked as that's a bad guy or a felon or that's, it's a stigma for sure. And, it's a stigma for reasons too. I mean, there's not everyone that goes down the path that you went down that are able to make that correction. It has, sometimes these stereotypes, they do hold some weight because of whatever the factors were, but then there are other factors as well, like, well, maybe this person didn't have the resources or the proper guidance.
Well, there's something to be said too for reinforcing ideas and attitudes. So if there were studies done, like there's a specific study I'm thinking of where they took A students, right, and told them that they were actually D students, and then treated them like they were D students.
The angels
then
and demons.
And they took the D students and told them they were A students. Excellent job. You're doing so well. And kept reinforcing this. And the two groups of students changed their behaviors to reflect what was being stated to them. And so when you take somebody who's made a mistake, right, or maybe they're coming out of some sort of criminal culture, and you go, yep, you're a criminal, and then just reinforce it in them every time you see them, every time they apply for a job, you remind them that they're in fact a criminal, they're less than. What do you think the implications are?
Hold on a second. Go back to that study that you were talking about. Now, wasn't this the one that they checked on them like every 10 years? And then they found out like, oh, we can't do this to another group of kids. Because
they messed up the kids like that?
Yeah, no. They taught them from like a young age. Yeah. They called them the demons and angels, right? And so there was these kids that they told were the bad kids, right? Mm-hmm. These were the D students. These were the guys that weren't going to amount to anything, And they found out later on in life, like, oh, these guys are like robbing liquor stores and stuff, and we might have had something to do with it.
Yeah,
and
really? So they believed us.
Yeah, they believed us.
Well, sometimes you gotta crack some eggs, Now we know that there's that issue there, so
yeah.
Sorry, kids.
Well, no, the good news is that society at large is turning away from this philosophy, and it's reflected in some of our institutions, like the Juvenile Justice Center, with their program of balance and restorative justice, where they're trying not to demonize the children that make mistakes, but rather to give them a sense of accountability, and then bring them back into the community. Say, hey, you did damage to the community that you're a part of. You damaged yourself.
Right.
That's really, I think, the overarching
restorative
message.
action. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so I'm really excited if I can be a part of that.
Yeah.
I think it'd be powerful.
I think it'd be amazing. Yeah, man. I mean, you're definitely changing lives in that position for sure, and that's wonderful. I mean, that's again testament to what you've been doing. I mean, from where you were, you're taking the negative that you've experienced in life, and you're trying to turn it around and make it a positive for somebody else, so they don't have to go down that road.
I think you're doing something really similar here with the inclusive environment, bringing in some of these youngsters and saying, hey, you can take these this natural masculine aggressive energy you have and channel it towards something positive, something socially acceptable, something that will benefit you and other people around you. And that's powerful, because not only do we need to have better attitudes, we need to have better outlets.
For sure. I think that's key right there. We do need to have better outlets, and we do try to provide that here. Some of these guys will come in, and we got some younger guys in here and be like, Coach, I got into a fight today. And instead of scolding him, like, you shouldn't be out there fighting the street, I give him a chance to explain yourself. What happened? Well, Coach, I was out running. This guy almost ran me over in his car, so I yelled at him. The guy jumped out of his car and came at me. I was like, well, hey, man, you got to handle what you got to handle then. I mean, it sounds like you were just out for a run. This guy might have been going through some stuff. I don't think that's on you, but even though I kind of you did what you had to do, I also try to give them that, listen, man, you also have to have some forethought. If that guy would have came out and he would have had, a weapon in his hand or something, you got to kind of weigh those odds, especially if, he's a young man, he has a child on the way. I go, you got to think about that too. Sometimes if you pound a guy into the ground, whether you're right, wrong, or whatever, and the police show up and they see him bleeding and they see you're still standing and you're fine, they may not take your story. You know what I mean? It may go against you. So those are some of the little, I'm an older guy and I'm trying to just drop that in him. Hey man, maybe next time if he almost hit you and he kept going, you just kind of whatever, and then just let him go on his way, so you don't have to have that potential situation that could turn south. I mean, we all know how quickly a situation goes from what you think it's going to be to a very severe situation.
I was doing time with a guy that got into it with another inmate over a tray of food.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and they took it out. They threw hands over it. What he didn't know was the guy that stole his tray also had a plate in his head. He hit him once. Guy hit the ground. Concrete. Died. 9 years. 9 years for that.
Manslaughter.
That must have been some biscuit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, I mean that's what it was over, man.
Well, it is. It's more than that.
I get that.
When you're in the pen,
I get that. But you also know how stupid that sounds later.
Yeah.
Well,
sure.
When you're in the situation, you do what you got to do. But again, when you step outside, when other people are looking
that
into
biscuit's symbolic of the other.
It was breakfast cereal for me. That's the one that. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Sure. Training while circling back to kind of training while injured.
We didn't check in with
with
did
Joe.
we check? We got to check in with Joe. That's right. Thank you, Steven.
yeah.
Keeping me on track here.
I'm not in my last year, but I'm a junior right now, and I am.
Same school. Go Cougs.
Yeah,
You
Washington
guys are
State
some
University.
Cougars, man, try to buy some Cougars up in here.
In the Carson School of Business and studying entrepreneurship and marketing. And what I got to say is
He's our
that-
marketing guy. This guy right here.
Well, I will be.
Yeah.
I will be.
I need to get a degree first. and then I will be.
But you know, the deal is I'm taking a couple of tough classes, man, and one of them is accounting, and you know, this is my last accounting class. And so once this is over, I'm not gonna say it's smooth sailing, but this has been the bane of my existence since I started. Like every single accounting class I've wanted. I've thought, you know, maybe I don't even need to. Maybe I don't need a degree, man. You know, like, you know, maybe shooting myself is a better idea.
Oh man. Oh, too soon.
That's what you call intrusive thoughts. I just learned about those. I think I told you. I learned what intrusive thoughts were.
Did you get that off of like TikTok?
No. I mean, I'll have to ask my lady where she got that from, but she told me. She told me all about intrusive thoughts, and I was like, "Oh, that's what those are."
Yeah. But so anyways, there's that. I finally I didn't realize when I came. Was it last week that we did the podcast, and I was like, "Yeah, I filled out all the paperwork so that we could be a real WSU Jiu-Jitsu club."
I think it was either last week or the weekend before. It's the week before. It's been a little while since we've gotten all together.
Well, that was bullshit. So I found out that it's not just me that has to fill out the paperwork, but my other officer and also the
Faculty.
the faculty member has to do it too.
Goodness, it's a whole.
Is that the math professor?
Yeah.
Nice.
So he already did his part. We're just waiting on you know. Our other officer.
The officer.
Understood.
Yeah.
It's a busy guy.
So busy guy. So anyways, there's that. Training's been like a little spotty. It's been at the college a couple of days a week, and then maybe one day a week here. So 3 times.
What are you guys going over at the college?
Well, right now, they're all like we got one blue belt. The other blue belt got injured, and so like we're going
less
from
than a weekend,
straight up, like from the ground up, like jiu-jitsu 101. Getting them ready to like get a blue belt, you know what I mean?
Yeah, white belt. You're doing white belt.
Here's an escape. Here's like I try not to combo things too much right now, you know. But unfortunately, like sometimes you kind of have to. You know, I'm just trying to keep it like real simple. Like here's a back take, you know. Here's a back take to like a triangle from the back. You know what I mean?
Positions and holds and transitions. Right? Like a bunch of white belt stuff.
And so you got like some that come in and they don't even roll. So they just come in for the instructional part. They're like,
I was say they come in, take a picture, put jiu-jitsu today. Come in I come in sometimes just take the picture, so I get it.
Well,
that was me tonight.
Yeah,
I didn't roll at all.
And you know, and then we got about 3 of us that roll on a regular basis, and then there's some more that like kind of trickle in. They bounce back, and you know, we had up to 7 a couple of times, and then I thought that was going to be how it rolled out, and it's been about 4 since then.
Yeah, I mean, I think whenever you start like a martial arts school or group, it's going to be that build up, and then it's going to be a trickle down effect. People are going to get injured or life happens. Like it's pretty common, man. It's a revolving
I
door
invited
sometimes.
all my friends when I started doing jiu-jitsu. And one of them stuck with it.
You know, what's surprising is that it's been people that know me less. Like I finally got some people to start coming in that, and they'll come in and they'll, you know, get strangled and then they never want to come
see them again.
But they show up. Some of them and it took a while, but they did show up, you know, and then you get some people that are a little more hard-headed, you know, those are the more of the people that I really relate to, and they come in and they're just like, oh, I really want to learn this.
This is what I've been looking for. I've been looking to strangle some people.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys do. It's okay
you guys get to do this all the time? This is like candy all the time.
Yeah, I would say it's like maybe 1 in 20. 1 in 10, maybe. I don't know.
I don't
The
know
odds
either.
are not in your favor.
That's why
though.
they say the white belt's the hardest belt to get.
Yeah. No, it's tough.
I always love when you're trying to introduce somebody into jiu-jitsu and, get them into the gym and then they want to tell you about their prior experience or their prior martial experience. And you're like, oh, that's great. Let's come see. But then they never show up. And a lot of their prior experience always, I don't know, it always seems like pretty extreme to me. Like, I met this Kung Fu master, works at Bi-Mart, and his name's Larry. And
you get that a lot
cool
of like in the drug world and like in being locked up. Like I remember like one time I was like I was locked up in Thurston County, And,
shout out Thurston County.
Yeah. And,
all the fellas up there. That's kind of our main audience, by the way.
And I remember like sitting there being like, I was kind of laughing. I was like, I've never been so frightened in my entire life. I'm just surrounded by like green berets and black belts.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten the blue smoke special while I was locked up. Some guy telling me about his whatever it was, special operations Navy SEAL experience.
Navy
while he
SEAL.
looked like about 300 pounds of chewed up bubble gum shoved in a 200-pound sack.
Yeah.
When I get hit, I see red, man.
I hear that one too. Yeah. I don't want to hurt anybody.
I always tell guys, if you're getting hit and you're seeing red, you're probably going to be seeing black soon. Right? Like, that's not a good sign. That's not good.
Yeah.
You just start going crazy. Oh, watch out.
Yeah.
That literally happened to me one time. I was 8 years old. I was just about to win my first game of chess, computer chess, against my sister, who's a year older.
Did she beat your ass?
No, I was about to checkmate her.
win.
I was about for the first time. I was beat me like 20, 30 times.
Did she like?
No, she unplugged the computer, and then I saw red. I was gonna rip her head off. I was so angry.
Oh man. Yeah.
Jeez. Is that the first time you got locked up? Domestic violence with the sister. Who hasn't been there, man? Shoot. But yeah, so I mean that's great. It sounds like you're getting that jiu-jitsu group going at WSU, and we're excited for that. Eventually, I'll probably end up sneaking in. I know I keep saying that, but
tell us more
I will
about
sneak in.
why you're not training as much here right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm training 2 days a week there, and I'm whenever I come in here. But the reality of it is, I don't do 2 a days anymore. Like at this point right now. Like, I got the sciatic nerve thing that is not healed up yet. It's still pretty weak, So it's a trifecta thing. So left side sciatic nerve, right side, the knee, and then the lower back. So it kind of like has this triangle of like, you know what I mean? I have about
the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, the Bermuda Triangle of injury. And they alternate, man. They alternate, and so it's really fun when I have about 3 rounds, and that's why when I come in, I do 3 rounds of stand up, and it's only boxing.
Yeah,
and it's because in the 4th round I lose head movement.
Yeah, I mean you don't have much head movement, but you lose what you have.
Yeah.
It's just hard to move around like that, and you're bouncing too.
And so
almost no head movement.
And so then it becomes like, I have to shell up, right? Which I mean, it is what it is. It's just it's not fun for me.
No.
I don't get to play the game like I like playing the game.
Sure.
Yeah. And it's not fun for other people either.
No. Well, I'm sure they get something out of beating you up.
Yeah, right? They get some revenge.
After that, too, we could play some chess. I'm just going to need your rooks and your knights.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
We'll play some chess.
Yeah. That kind of brings, a good point. When you are training and you do have some of these injuries, I think it's pretty important to have that communication you have with your training partners, prior to the round starting or even maybe prior to class starting. I know I try to make it a habit. I'm not perfect at it, but as a instructor or coach, you go and ask people as they're coming in the door, hey, how you doing today? What's any injuries we gotta look at or consider when we're going through our lesson today? And I think that's important because if the people around you that you're training with don't know what it is you're going through, then they may hit you unintentionally that may be a career stopper or something like that. So having that communication is huge in the gym.
It is. Although that being said, you are ultimately the one responsible for protecting
Sure.
yourself.
Yeah.
So always protect yourself, whether that's tapping early because you've got some whatever injury you need to protect, or whether that's, taking a knee in the middle of a stand-up, or just making sure that, like, even if you talk to your training partner, you're doing your due diligence.
That's right. You should be
or
very.
you don't train with certain people.
Yeah.
I do that too.
There's definitely certain people who, like, you could tell them, hey man, I'm like messed up today, and like, oh, you didn't hear me. Like you did
Do you
not
think
actually
some
hear
of that's intentional, or that's just like some of that white belt lack of control, spaz type stuff?
You know what, man?
Or is it just
I don't
situational
know.
in the
I don't
mentality
know.
sometimes?
Yeah, I think that maybe sometimes, because I know for me, whether I'm injured or not, sometimes I have this habit of wanting to meet someone wherever they're at, you know, and that's not always the best for healing.
No.
You know,
I think that brings that being self-aware thing, like Steven was talking about, tapping early and knowing your own limitations. I think that's key to protecting yourself too. It's kind of like that little ego thing, sort of like, I want to roll and go hard with some of these young guys too.
Sure.
Like when I'm in here, especially you being in the instructor position, you don't want to come in and have some of these guys you've been training for the past year, end up catching up and whipping your butt, and then they start smelling their piss or something like that.
that always happens.
Yeah, so sometimes you got to make that little like, I was letting you have it today. You got to really drill that stuff. So I was really leaving myself open for you.
Yeah.
But it is that ego factor, right? You gotta know where you're at, and it's okay to have those off days, or have those days where you're like, hey man, today I really need to focus on healing and getting better.
Yeah.
Physically.
Yes. Especially if you can't turn it off. I think part of it too, I think ego is a part of it. I think also too,
absolutely.
The military experience that kind of, it was drilled into me in my formative years to not give up.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's really, sometimes if I know that's going to be a problem, I just don't. Like, I'm like, I'm not going to roll with this guy today because I'm not going to be able to take it down to 50%.
Now listen, man, when we were in our 20s, 18, 19, 20, 25, even 30, like, that was cool, man, but I'm 40 today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a little bit different, and I don't want to make excuses, but at the same time, I know that, like, my
reality.
Yeah, there is a reality of getting a little older, man.
You can only lie to yourself for too long.
Yeah. I don't think that I could pull an 8-hour day training today without injury. So
if you're able to do maybe just one day, it's not going to be a consistent thing where you're able to go 6 to 8 hours, 5-6 days a week.
Yeah.
Like that's just.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that today.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hell, I mean, it's. Yeah, I don't think I can do it just because I'm pausing, I'm thinking about it. Like,
right?
Could I don't know.
And
man.
I remember the last time that I did that, I was 30. 33, 34 maybe, tops 34, and
we all are getting to our midlife, man.
Yeah,
jeez.
And I was still beat up then. Like my body was still like aching, and I was still rolling out of bed like, So I don't think that I think those kind of days are behind me.
That's okay.
Yeah. With that, how does that affect your mental state? You think? Having that kind of realization sometimes, how do you feel about that?
Well,
because I know we're all kind of like, man,
it sucks.
Yeah, back in the
Listen,
day,
man, it sucks. That's all I gotta say is that for sure, my goal is no longer to be like a jiu-jitsu champion. You know what I mean? My goal is straight up to stay on the mat.
Yeah,
and I hate to say it like that, and it sounds like a cop out and all this, but the reality of it is, like, if I could heal and stay on the mat for another 10 years, 15 years, I would love that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that would be worth more to me than having to leave the mat early because I decided I wanted to take one more run at, like, pulling 40 hours a week on the mat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whatever,
that's understandable.
Yeah.
So I'm a human development major. That's my field.
Yeah.
the understanding that change over time is the human experience.
Yeah.
It's a truth we'll never escape, but it's something we can embrace as well. And I think that like sometimes, you know, you take the things that you love and you just kind of reframe them in your mind.
Yeah.
And rather than being a jiu-jitsu champion.
That's why I'm already a jiu-jitsu champion without ever winning anything.
Well, the same. I mean, I've seen you use jiu-jitsu in this school and to help people heal from some real serious emotional and spiritual issues.
Yeah.
And I think that's the kind of championship that could outshine any tournament or.
Yeah,
or,
you're a spiritual champion now.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah. Well, that's true. That's true. And like,
It's true.
yeah. It is true. It is true. I'll take this away. This is good. This is pure gold. I'm
Thanks,
spitting
guys.
right now.
Man, I feel so much better about myself. I'm definitely not shooting myself today.
You're gonna get your wings soon. Don't you worry.
Man.
You'll be a champion.
No, life is eventually life will take away from you everything that it has given.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of accepting
hurt.
that.
Yeah, right?
It's just a matter of accepting that and then
Yeah.
making sure that as you progress through the stages,
Yeah.
that you are developing.
You know, bro, like that all sounds good, but I could also take steroids.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Fine.
are in a new day and age. So,
Yeah, I mean,
technology has
steroids
come.
aren't even.
You could
like,
cling to the past, but that's going to cause you all kinds of problems. Really, too. Here's the funny thing about that. Talking about injury,
Yeah.
like testosterone, all the testosterone bases, like propionate and ethynate,
TRT.
Yeah.
those will weaken your connective tissue while they increase your muscular strength.
Oh, really?
You'll snap your own tendons like they're made of like.
Yeah.
Yeah, have the muscles of a gorilla and the tendons of a 90-year-old man and see how that works out for you.
Yeah,
It's not. It's not gonna work out well.
Yeah.
You seen those videos of those guys where their bicep curls up into their shoulder or their pec
Oh, I
flaps
have
over to the
seen that.
center?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's TRT, bro. So watch yourselves.
That's not TRT. Those are, there's a big difference between TRT that you get from like the clinics and real steroids. Like they like you could tell like
Sure. Well, it's just a matter of volume.
Sure.
Yeah. And then if you're anything like me,
Yeah.
if one shot's good, two shots is better, and before too long, I'm juiced to the gills, and now I'm just a whole maniac.
man.
I'm a whole entire maniac.
Yeah.
I know because I've done it.
Yo.
Yeah, I used to be too big for life.
Didn't you say you've actually taken steroids though
Yeah.
before? Yeah. Have you?
Stupid.
Me? No. I'm all natty, bro.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
natty boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll never do it again.
Yeah.
I take testosterone Prime. Shout out
Yeah.
to Prime. Thank
Yeah.
you guys for that.
Yeah.
These little pills.
Yeah.
Take some of that. Have done TRT
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I've done TRT.
It's been medically prescribed by a physician or a doctor
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, me too.
So it was I didn't have to go into a back alley and
No.
do what I
You didn't
do
score
what
it
they
out of
have to do.
the fanny pack of a shady locker room troll.
Nothing like that. No, sir.
I'm so, and this doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't make any sense because of the amount of stuff that I've thrown in my body.
Mm-hmm.
But like for some reason, when it came to steroids, I was actually scared. And
Yeah, that really doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make
You
sense.
hear some of these stories?
But like, yeah. But for some reason, when
Needles.
it came to steroids, I'd be sitting there, doing meth and being like, no, that stuff's gonna mess up your hormones.
You see any tattoos on this guy? No. It's the needles, bro. The needles. They scared me too, man. When they started seeing that, because we ended up getting injections for TRT. They stick it in your leg, like the biggest muscle in your body.
Well, that's not your biggest. The biggest is your glute, your buttock. But
Okay.
Your
Whatever
quadriceps is good. It's
That's
like
a good
second
one.
best injection site.
So they stick it in that, and the needle is like an inch and a half. And I have a big.
Just the little needles.
Oh, dude, I have such a phobia with needles, bro.
See, he's a professional.
And I'm like, ooh, I remember that because there was an old lady. She's like, oh, she wasn't even gonna tell me like, are you ready? And I'm like, you gotta tell me when. And I'm all looking over here and holding on to the chair. And she's like, are you okay? Like, I'm like, yeah, just do it. Just do it.
You can hit this guy with a sledgehammer and he'll like look at you and
Needles,
smile,
bro.
but
No.
you poke him with a little needle,
No,
man.
I can't. No, you can stab me with a knife.
I got some stories about
needle.
steroid needles that I probably won't share on this podcast.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, it was messy.
It was messy.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
I
messy.
bet.
You know,
I bet,
it
man.
gets messy sometimes.
Yeah.
What would you say, your most significant injury has been while doing martial arts? Sustained while doing martial arts.
Man, dude, I don't know. So when I found out, it was like the weekend of, I think it was Grappling Industries. I was supposed to go compete for Grappling Industries one weekend, and maybe the Thursday or something, Thursday or Friday or something. And that was when I found out that I had 3 fractured vertebrae, and they healed back wrong into a permanent formation.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Is that why you kind of have like a question mark standing back? Like when you're standing up, you're always like, oh.
And then I had like a compressed disc and bone spurs sticking out my spine. And
Godzilla spikes.
So what happened was I went. I still thought that I was going to compete, and I did. I did compete after that, but it was like months after that, after I actually healed up and stuff. But so I still thought I was going to compete. I didn't know that I had all that stuff wrong with my back. I knew my back was messed up because it like locked up, and I came back from like a pretty light workout. Like I wasn't pushing it. You know, I knew I had to compete in like 4 days, so I was just like getting some of the anxiety out, you know, and making sure I was still like lifting and stuff. And my back locked up.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh crap. Like I'm having trouble moving around. I'm moving, like I can get up, but it hurts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And walking hurts.
You
And
only have
everything.
one back, man.
And so like I think that I don't know anything about back injuries. Not really, dude. I've been, you know. And so like I go to what are the back witch doctors? You know?
Chiropractor.
The chiropractor, right? And I'm like, maybe this guy can just pop my back and it'll be fine, dude.
Oh, no.
And he's like, listen, they bring me into this room. And
Crystals and everything rubbing on you, some oils.
They take the X-rays and stuff first, right?
Thank goodness.
And then they're like, "Hey, these X-rays aren't going to come back for 3 days. Like, so we're not going to pop you before we take a look at these." And I'm like, "You're popping me, or you're not getting paid." You know what I mean?
Heard
like,
that before.
Yeah. And so like we're at this weird standstill. I was like, I'll walk, and you guys can go screw yourselves. And so the guy like
yeah,
popped,
whatever.
Yeah.
Go leave then.
The guy popped me, and it didn't help.
Yeah, it wouldn't. If anything, it could have made it worse.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, like, yeah, he probably just effed you up a little
and
more.
then you know, so I went and I bought every single over-the-counter back whatever that I could find, and I spent like maybe $150 over at Walgreens, you know, and got the massager, you know, all the like the weird painkillers you can get over the counter, you know, for them.
They don't work.
Yeah,
They don't
I mean, nothing really helped. Just time, you know.
Time and prayer.
And
That's what I always say.
And then like a week or two later or something, whatever it was, man, that guy pulled me back in, you know, called me, and I stopped in, and he's like, "When did you break your back?" I'm like, "What?"
Broke my back.
Yeah. I was like, "I don't know." I don't know when I broke my back, dude. Like, you know.
Just like Mike Tyson, man.
Yeah.
Broke my back. That's
it was
hilarious.
spinal. It was spinal.
Was it in the service?
Huh?
Was it when you were in the service?
Dude, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I really don't know. But there was a time when, like, we were running missions out of this palace, and when you know how like sand, when it gets over like a marble floor,
Yes.
it becomes like so slick like ice.
Yeah.
And I was coming down, and I had two 240 Bravos, one on each
Yes.
hand, and I did that cartoon,
Rambo.
cartoon slip. You know what I mean? Where you like. Your feet go in the
you see
air
your
and just
feet?
like land right on the spine. And I still I never want to see anybody for it.
Well, no. Why
Yeah,
would you?
240 Bravo, for anyone listening, is a 30-plus pound machine gun.
Yeah.
When it's empty. I don't know if you had ammunition attached to it. Then
No. I think we kept the ammunition in the truck for that particular
I can just
weapon.
see over
Yeah,
there.
that sounds like a really, really probable cause
Yeah.
of the injury
Just
you
two of
described.
those, no shirt on, just walking around.
Just slamming into a marble floor.
Yeah. But I was
on your
20,
head.
man. You know, I ate a bologna sandwich and I just drove
Hey,
on, you
Al.
know?
Why not?
With dirt in it.
It
yeah.
probably healed in a permanent formation because that was the shape of the truck.
There
You know,
you go.
that was the shape of the truck
Yes.
seat. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
yeah.
Dang.
What do you
Yeah.
got, Steven? What's your most significant injury you've had while training martial arts?
Yeah, so down in California, training at the MMA school I was at, I remember one day this 25-year-old bodybuilder sheriff comes in.
Yeah.
He wants to try it out for the first time. So we're just like, the coach was there. I was there. Some other guys were there. We're just taking him through the positions. Kind of showing him the ropes. And so I'm in side control on him, and the coach is like, "Hey, try and pop up." And he's like, tries to pop up, and I just press down. Well, I had my foot like way off to the side to give myself this extra, pressure into him. And as he came up, I pressed down and I turned my hip over to get more torque, and my kneecap just popped, slid over to the side.
Oh!
And I talked to the doctors later, and they're like, "Yeah, we think your T-band was overly tight from all the running you were doing at that time."
Yeah.
It was really interesting. It was weird because I'm in top position, and then I just like pops up and screaming. It was so painful.
I'm sure.
I'm screaming into this guy's face, and there's nothing he can do. Right? He's pinned to the ground. Like,
He's like, "Is this jujitsu?"
he never came back. He never came back.
Imagine so.
But
traumatized.
Yeah, to my coach, I'm like, "Can you put it back in place?" He's like, "I can do shoulder, but I can't do." So I had to wait for the EMTs to show up, and they like take me to the hospital. And
man.
it took a while. PT comes in there and
good thing that didn't
reduces
happen
it,
here,
puts it back in place. But funny thing, it did happen in here.
Did it?
Yeah.
Exact same thing.
Oh yeah.
On your
knee?
Yeah.
No, to himself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He
I
did
was
it to
like,
himself.
oh man. Yeah.
And he was lucky
Shout
that
out Chris.
his like
He
snapped
watches
back
the
into
show.
place
Yeah.
like moments later. I had to get mine physically reduced, so it stayed in that stretch position for a while. So I had to be in a leg immobilizer for like a few weeks. But it wasn't as bad as the Wizard's injury.
Yeah,
I came
that's
back.
our other
Yeah.
Chris, the Shogun, the Wizard. He had to get surgery.
Yeah.
He's been out for what, almost
6 months.
6 months,
6
man,
months,
on
yeah.
an injury.
Well, and this kind of describes too, like some of the different types of injuries. There's acute injuries, right? Like when I broke my big toe.
Right,
When we
yeah.
first started training gi, I had been training gi, no gi for a year.
Sure.
Coach is like, "We're gonna start doing gi one day a week." I'm like, "Cool." So I got a gi, we got a gi, and like the second day we were doing that, I got my big toe stuck in his sleeve or something, and it just broke.
Funny, it was a toe and not like a thumb or something. It was your toe got stuck.
Yeah, I think actually it was his pant. It was his pant sleeve. My toe got stuck in there. I didn't realize it until I got home, and I'm like, "Why is my foot all purple?" But that's like it healed, and that was fine. You know what I mean? No real. But then you have these chronic injuries, right? So that's an acute injury. Then you have the chronic injury like your back, where it's like, this isn't really going to get better.
Yeah.
We just got to figure out, you got to figure out, and maybe
How to
collectively,
train
we got to
around
figure out
it, yeah.
how to train around it. And then you can have multiple things going on at the same time.
Yeah. I think, that's an important distinction. Are you, like you said, the title of the episode, are you hurt or are you injured, right?
Yeah.
And if you are injured, that should be taken care of. You should really take the time to take care of that. We have self-care on here, That's important to take the time to do that self-care. Ice up, make sure you're hydrated, make sure you're trying to, prevent these injuries from inevitably happening, because it's inevitable. We're in here, we're doing a combat sport, we're rolling around. Things are going to happen, but
part of a black eye right now.
yeah.
Winning.
Hey, you noticed that he didn't spar today? That was probably from home.
I've been having a really rough week, guys. I think I talked about that.
Oh, man.
Thanks.
My wife made like almost the exact same joke.
Yeah.
It stops being funny.
It stops being funny the third time she hits me.
It stops being funny when I have to show up and have to explain it.
The other part of that is just accepting it. You know what I mean? You simply have to accept that as you age, as an athlete, it's another thing too. You have to accept the reality and that some of those things might impact your training. And you have to adjust for it. It's
That
like everything else
I
in life.
might never be able to just throw tornado kicks anymore in sparring. That just might not be a thing.
We should have filmed it when you were able to.
I know,
no
right?
one's ever going to believe that. I used to be able to kick people in the head.
Yeah, nobody's going to be. Yeah, they're
bro.
like, whatever, bro. Like,
It wasn't even that long ago.
yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
I feel the
Now
same
it's a
way.
lifetime ago now.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah.
No, I think that you brought up a really good point, though. Yeah, it is that acceptance as we age, our training. We have to modify our training so that we could train appropriately and still progress. Because if you aren't taking care of yourself, you aren't making those adjustments and having that acknowledgement, you can get burnt out doing this. I mean, injuries not only affect you physically, but like I said, they affect you mentally and emotionally. I know I feel that way when I'm not able to train properly. I get frustrated. I get angry, and there's no reason for me to be angry at, getting injured. It's what I put myself through. It's what I sign up for. I understand that it could happen, but it's the fallout of it, oh, now I can't do this. And if you're a competitor too, it's another hit for you, because now you're out competition. And, when you are competing, you only have a finite amount of fights in you before you have to hang it up anyways. I mean, these guys are getting, it's like every competition you go to, someone there is younger, faster, stronger, whatever it is. And if you're not at the top of your game, I mean, you're at a disadvantage going in there. And the older you get, the more of a disadvantage you tend to have. I mean, you get all that, he's just not able to perform the way it used to. And
that's what we touched on earlier, though, because you have the ability to change your own goals.
Exactly.
And reframe what your relationship is to the sport. And that's why a lot of guys transition to a coaching capacity. My old boxing coach was in his 70s, and he couldn't raise his hands over his shoulders because of shoulder injuries. He couldn't, but he still wanted to feel the thrill of a victory in competition.
Like, he's been around it his whole life, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And to have to being forced out of it to where you can't do it anymore, like, if you love it, you're going to find ways to still be a part of it. Yeah. And just filling that void and finding your role and how you can contribute. And I think that's a wonderful way to look at it, because as we do age, there's nothing wrong with mulling out of that competition aspect to, like, now I'm going to mentor a kid. Hey, and that's what I'm falling in love with nowadays too, is especially when we get these, these young bloods in here that are hungry, that are like, oh no, I really want to do this. And you're seeing the potential in them. Yeah, and you're like, all right, not that I'm trying to live vicariously through their achievements, but you want to see them succeed, because in some ways you are succeeding, because it's your program, it's your knowledge, it's your foundation that even your guidance is trying to help them get to their goals. Yeah. So you do find fulfillment out of it. I've actually found I get more nervous coaching these guys than I do going competing, and I actually get more of a satisfaction when they win compared to, like, if I win a match, because I almost expect myself to perform that way. I expect myself to win, so I don't really, I won or whatever. Or even, like, if I'm going into a match, I'm like, well, it's me going in there. I've been in lots of this stuff, and I know what I can do, and I know how I'm gonna react to it. But when it's like one of your guys, especially like one of your younger guys, I mean, you do get that mentor role, that kind of, I don't know if a parenting role is the correct word, but you want them to succeed. You want them to not get injured, and you want to see them flourish. And when they do that, it's fulfilling, and to me it's just as fulfilling as winning any match, to be honest. Like, absolutely, if not more. And I'm learning that more now that I'm in that position now, too, being able to transition out of that. And it's hard for a lot of athletes to do. So I think it's important that, again, with your experience and your knowledge and your background, you're able to bring that to not only the gym, but now we're able to share it on the podcast to the rest of the world. So your guys is welcome. Thank you. Thank you, and you're welcome.
Yeah.
I better see a bunch of thank yous in the comments.
No, I never considered how this degree program would impact my understanding of life.
All right. Okay. So, getting back to it. Sorry, we had a little bit of a editing error there, but we are getting close to that ending mark, anyways.
We got 12 minutes.
We got about 10 minutes left. But what were you talking about with
human development?
Human development.
Well, just the idea that change over time is something that's inevitable. And there's different ways to look at that. There's either, I'm going to lose some of my physical powers. That's a terrible loss. But you can also look at the fact that you will continue to gain experiences. And if you take those experiences and you apply them effectively in your life, now you have wisdom. And if you take that a step further and you try and connect to something greater than yourself, you might have spiritual progress. And there's no limit to what you can, how far you can go down that path.
Yeah.
In my estimation. And so sometimes, as an athlete or a competitor, you look at some of the stuff and you go, oh man, that's too bad. But the reality of it is as you lose your effort in some other direction, which is why a lot of our elders are the wise members of the tribe.
Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, You had to be a little bit wise to get that age, right?
Right.
Or lucky,
Yeah.
or extremely lucky, one of the
Right.
two. But I would put my money on being wise, Luck will only get you so far.
That's part of the process.
You ever hear that saying, I'd rather be lucky than skilled?
I'd rather be lucky than good.
I'd
yeah.
rather be lucky than good. I'd rather be lucky than skilled.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I think that counts for some situations for sure.
It sure does.
But I don't know if that's my whole life. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I think that just bouncing around, like teaching jujitsu, just bringing guys. Every time I see some young buck that them being self-conscious and them not knowing what to do, and then someone like that, I bring them here.
Yes.
Good.
And it's one of the
As
things
you should.
that no matter what happens in this life, man, I want to pass on what I know. And this is something that I stumbled on because I walked in at the right room at the right time. You know what I mean? Right room, right time, and and so I just try to pass it on like where I can, man. And sometimes it works out.
Maybe that's
And
what it was.
like we wound up all getting into one spot,
Yeah.
And this is and mind you, like me and Nate, rightfully, in any other environment, should not have been friends because he beat the crap out of me when I first.
true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although when we rolled, you laid on me, and that wasn't fair. either.
Okay.
You're a big old boy.
I always thought that the reason that you asked me to go to your gym was because you got tired of me choking your ass out.
Yeah, because you were big. You were just laying on me. Like, why don't we try some punching?
Yeah,
here,
and you were like, hey, have you ever fought me in a small room?
Yeah,
How's it feel now?
Yeah.
How does it feel
Remember
now?
having to, when we started doing jiu-jitsu and having to deal with the wall? Because
Yeah,
we never, at the
dude.
other gym, we never rolled with the wall. So adding that wall in there when we're doing jiu-jitsu, I was able to pin his ass against the wall and punch him.
It
but
stops you
I was not
completely. Like
prior
you
to
have
that.
to rewire your whole idea of what you think jujitsu is.
The wall's been. Honestly, I'm
floors.
sure the wall has helped
Yeah.
me as many times as it's hurt me, but it's hard to remember the times that it helped me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to give the wall credit for my wins.
Yeah,
but I definitely
yeah.
want to blame it for my losses.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
fuck
yeah,
the wall.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know about that wall.
Yeah, that fucking wall.
Yeah, I have a mixed feelings about it as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Sometimes it's been beneficial for me.
Yeah, when you could trap somebody in the corner and just ground and pound, it's good. But when you're the guy in the corner,
Yeah.
if this wall wasn't here, I'd be beating your ass right now.
Dead, man.
Especially if you're like me and just I'm just going to train one side that I like because I'll make it happen right until you got the wall right there. And
Now I'm stuck.
Oh, I gotta
Start
use my
punching
left
through the
hand.
wall, bro.
Oh,
Well,
man.
We're coming to that time again, y'all. We're gonna be wrapping it up.
Yeah.
Any future updates for you guys? You guys want to talk about anything that's happening here in the near future?
Once the jiu-jitsu club is legitimately up and running, I'm gonna look at making T-shirts.
What are they gonna say?
Just WSU Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
WSU Jiu-Jitsu Club.
Really thoughtful there, Joe.
Listen,
Really
I'm a pretty
there.
thoughtful guy. I don't know if you knew this.
Here's the thing.
Jiu-jitsu.
Help me out here, Joe.
Yeah.
Why has no one ever used Van Cougars? Why? Why has that not happened? It's just right there.
I don't know.
Can we? So let's talk about the jiu-jitsu. I have ideas.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
ideas.
Be the
We should
Van
spitball.
Cougars.
Yeah, Van Cougars.
Yeah, come on, buddy. You're gonna be what is it?
Van Cougars like to get choked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah.
Who's going for the marketing degree?
Cougars like to get choked.
There we go.
Cougars that
Dude.
like to be choked.
That was just from the hip. That's
yeah,
five
yeah,
seconds of spitballing
yeah.
here. So
Hey, if I know anything about cougars, hey,
They like to be choked.
there it is. It could be
totally legit.
still accurate.
You're
Still
gonna
out
get me in
now.
the dean's office, dude.
Choking out the
There's a reason that it's simple and plain. It's because nobody can misinterpret it. You know what I mean?
That's good.
Yeah,
Definitely. I don't know what
You heard it
this
here
thing's
first,
doing.
folks.
Yeah.
Van Cougars like.
Van
Now
Cougars.
those other shirts we should sell. Yeah.
Steven,
man.
you have anything going on coming up?
Gosh, let me think. I've got some interviews for spring internships. I'm looking forward to. No, man, it's just basically the same stuff for me. I got some recovery birthdays I'm excited about going to. I mean,
when are you just picked up time? What are you doing?
No, I got some friends that are hitting some milestones that I'm,
okay.
talking about, celebrating, vicarious thrills or whatnot. Like it means a lot to me. So that's kind of how, that's what I'm doing. I'm just going to school.
Yeah.
I'm coming here and, I'm loving life.
Hell yeah, man.
What about you, man?
Awesome.
You got anything going on?
Anything coming up? Well, this coming weekend, so it'll actually be, so we always film a week prior, right? Before letting out the episode.
Uh-huh.
So this coming weekend, the day before this episode comes out, we'll be going up to Street Beefs. It's October 26th for their Halloween event.
Are we allowed to go if we're not competing yet?
Would you like to go Saturday?
I can't go this Saturday.
Well, there you go.
But
Let me know. It really depends on how many competitors we have in the event. Each competitor is allowed being in as a corner, not a competitor. Go 4 competitors, me maybe making 5. We have Igor, who's going to be doing a boxing match. I don't know if you've met him yet.
I don't think so.
No, he's he's fairly. You've met him. You trained with him. He's fairly new, but he's been coming through the striking class and getting in some boxing. We'll have Chef there. He was on our podcast last week or the week before, and he'll be doing his first ever MMA match. So we're really looking forward to that.
That kid's come so far.
Yeah, that's young guys coming through and repping the gym. We'll also have Mighty Matt there doing either a Muay Thai match or a kickboxing match. We're excited about that. That'll be his second competition. And then we'll have Slav coming through. And Slav, I've been talking with Slav probably for a good 6 months about competing, and he's been kind of just tossing it around back and forth.
Good, man.
Solid jiu-jitsu guy. He's going to be doing his first ever MMA match as well, so we're looking forward to that. I may be doing either a kickboxing match, depending on my injuries, maybe do it boxing match. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'll know next weekend, but that's what we have going on for that. Let's see. I think we have also Nick will be doing a jiu-jitsu tournament. This
weekend.
This weekend, yeah. A gi jiu-jitsu tournament.
Nice.
I believe it's in Salem.
Okay.
So that's actually our first competitor to go for as a jiu-jitsu gym. Nick, our white belt, Nicholas is going to be going through and repping us in a jiu-jitsu tournament.
That is so awesome.
That's
awesome.
gi. It's a gi tournament too, and since we don't rank here. It's exciting for him. So we're looking forward to that. I think the Wizard is going to be going up there and cornering him for that, so he won't be up there alone. Best of luck to him. I know he's going to do great. He's been working really hard. Let's see here. For all the people out there that would like to see the matches, like a day or two after they come out for the Street Beast events, please get their early access membership. It's only $2.99 a month, super cheap, and you get all the matches as soon as they come out. You don't have to wait for the edited versions. Plus, you get a lot of the behind the scenes. We're also doing some. If you like the donations, we're looking to do like a food drive potentially and donate some food to the needy around here. We'll also do that with gifts and everything with the holidays coming up. If you guys would like to bring anything in, we're happy to take that and go donate it to the people that are less fortunate or in need of some of that stuff. I mean, I know it's kind of rough out there for everybody right now. So if you're able to, please stop in. We're looking for that stuff. Sponsorship package, again, that'll be in the description below if you'd like to help sponsor any of our individual fighters or a team package, or even just sponsor this podcast, and we'll shout your business out and talk about it and show up, and Joe will help market. If your business is named Vancouver Shop, he'll make a shirt that says Vancouver Shop.
Vancouver Shop.
There we go.
That place.
That's kind of what we got going on from my understanding in the near future. Yeah, man, that's where we're at. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, and feel free to let us know how you feel about injuries and what you do to either recover or how you accommodate those injuries. We're looking to do some kind of discourse in the comment section. So, yeah, hit us up. All right, guys. Thank you. Bye.